Hey girls, it's your girl Brenda again, and I like my coffee like I like my exams. Easy please.
Hi girls, it's Madupe again, and I like my coffee like I like my men, as long as it's sweet and nice. I don't really care what type of coffee it is.
So obviously, mental health awareness week just passed, and there's just been bad discourse like on Twitter and stuff like that. Obviously,
Of course.
Don't ask me about exams.
Get off Twitter, Brenda.
But I actually saw a question, right, just in relation to this. I think that'd be really good to talk about. But I saw a question, and obviously you did an amazing collaboration both with the Mental Health Network here at uni and with the charity Mind, which is a mental health charity. Google it. They do great things. But yeah, someone asked the question. I think it'd be really interesting. How do you think social media has affected the mental health of basically our generation?
Whew, you see, if I could write a dissertation on this, I'm saying if I could write a dissertation on this, the fact that I'm already writing a dissertation and I'm struggling.
Listen.
Actually, if I'm being honest, I'm not really struggling. I'm just exaggeration. I love it. But if I could write a PhD dissertation on this, I really would. Mental health and social media. They're like this. You know that meme? They're like this. Okay. And you see, there's positives and negatives. Always two sides of the coin. I'll start off with the positives. Now, in terms of mental health on this generation with social media, I feel like social media has helped to raise awareness.
For sure.
So people are more likely to be open to share.
For sure.
You know, there's PEW research showing that, mental health, the word mental health, and also words surrounding mental health, the increase has been exponential in how many times it's been tweeted, retweeted, and things like that on Twitter, and even just in general on social media. So that's great for the awareness side of things. However, you also get the negative of that in the sense that I feel like to some extent, some people feel like they're bombarded constantly with information, and then they just all of a sudden get desensitized.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, yeah, someone's, trigger warning, someone's tried to kill themselves. Yeah, it's just a good old same day in like Twitter, streets. And also like, I guess, that's something we can work on. So it's not necessarily a negative that's like, oh yeah, no, let's stop talking about mental health, let's stop tweeting about mental health, let's stop
But that happens
posting about
naturally
mental
with
health.
social media. Social media has caused the desensitization of a lot of
Oh
things.
girl, don't
Because it's just like overwhelming, there's meant to be a noun for it in it, but the overwhelming amount of information that it's just like, it's just so constant. They're just like, here we go again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And also I feel like to some extent, and it's funny because I had a conversation with someone about this on Snapchat. During my campaign, I noticed that whilst I'm trying to raise awareness, and the campaign's a social media campaign, now people engage with social media quite heavily, and I found it interesting to note that whilst some people would click on the links and share the posts, the whole point of raising awareness is to spread information, and I feel like it was very static. So the idea is to kind of like things like this to be spread and shared and retweeted and screenshotted and sent across to your friends. But I feel
your
like
feed and my feed are going to be too complete. And trust me and Mo have a lot in university. We have a lot of the same social circles, but but our reaches on social media are two completely different directions. Because Mo's from England, I'm all the way from Scotland. So that in itself, in uni, yes, you've got your small collective. We have bare people in common. But the whole point of social media is as soon as I reshare her post, Scotland's seen it.
Exactly. And I've got friends, so I've been very fortunate enough in my life to have met people from almost every single continent in the world, Antarctica not included. But I have actually, so I've got friends on Facebook, on Snapchat, from different parts of the world. And so when I share these posts, people from different places are seeing it. Now, I've got probably like 100 and something to 200 people on Snapchat, 1,900 or so Facebook friends. It would be static if people just read the post or skim through the post. We all know that that's something that our generation has played with, laziness. If it's not a 10-second snap or how many characters, 400 characters.
Even the 400 characters, they had a lot of problems with that because people were just like, I don't want to read.
It's too much.
But they were talking about Twitter because Twitter used to be 120 characters.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Yeah, it's either 120 or 220, one of those. Yeah. And people got mad because they now increased the character limit. So Twitter, so people were just like, wait, but I don't want to read all that. And it's just like,
and they eventually adjusted them. No. But yeah, that complaint, the fact that people even complained about an increase in characters and Snapchats. Do you remember when it wasn't, they were increasing from 10 seconds and people were like, oh my god, you can't. But then you realise, actually, we do spend our time on social media so much. If you look at your like screen time, oh god, that screen time app on my phone drags me.
Why are you atting me? It came for my neck.
You have spent 8.5 hours on social media today. You have gone up an hour and a half from last week. I'm like,
why are you so loud? Why are you so?
Will you keep quiet? But yeah, so like obviously there's so much engagement with social media, and I just think it would be good if we could use that engagement for good. So whilst I was having enjoying sharing the campaign, creating the campaign, I had a slight frustration, not negative frustration, but a slight frustration with the fact that, you know, awareness is awareness. It doesn't matter whether you screenshot and post it to your story, or you screenshot and you just show it to your friends and your family, like, oh look, there's a post on schizophrenia today. Do you know about this? Start a dialogue. It doesn't need to be deep. I think we have this culture where people think, that topic's so deep, deep, and it's almost like a personality trait.
Yeah.
Like, being deep. But like, no, it's not deep. It's normal. Like literally, I think what's the stat again? I think it's like 1 in 3 people in their lives at some point will suffer from mental health condition. How many people are in this room?
Literally.
Exactly. So that just goes to show that, you know, we need to have these conversations, and these conversations are important. So that was a very long point. On to the next point. How it negatively affects the generation, and this is in terms of visual stimulation. I want to say one thing. Boys and girls, you are wonderfully and beautifully made in the eyes of your creator, whatever creator you believe in, the divine being, God, Allah, whoever.
Even if it's just your parents.
Even if it's just your parents, you are beautiful. And I think that word beautiful, beauty, has been taken and deconstructed and kind of almost uglified
on that.
in this generation simply because of social media. My sister did not grow up in a time, and actually technically I was
we transitioned.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna lie. I remember when I was young, we had dial-ups. Like I still had a dial-up in my house. Like, when I was a kid, I sometimes I literally sit back and I'm just like, wait, I've seen the rise of so many. Like literally, I started with the dial-up, as in I don't know if it's dial-up or broadband, but where your internet is connected to your phone,
someone's on the phone, ring, internet's gone.
Literally. And then next thing, and then I didn't even clock it as it was happening. But all the desktops in the house became replaced with laptops. Obviously now we have like iMacs and desktops are a thing again. But just that transition into wireless internet, because before it used to be the cable. If the cable came out, the internet was gone as well.
Even not just internet, even social media. Do you remember the days of MySpace, Hi-Fi, Bebo? So yeah, like obviously MSN. Even BBM.
No.
BBM. If you know. Ping me. Ping.
Screen muncher.
Screen muncher. What else? Do you remember when there was a thing with like people posting other people as their DPs?
DP. Oh my day. No, but it's actually like if you deep, I think it's our age range that has generally witnessed that progression. Like obviously the older ones, but I feel like we grew up in it. In the sense of we grew up in the transition. Others were kind of dropped in as it went along, but I generally feel like our age range, like especially from university age to 30, that 10-year generation rose with social media. Like my baby sister, she was born into the social media.
Yeah, she grew up iPad.
Like, when I see these 2-year-olds with iPads, I'm like, I didn't get a phone till I was 11, and that phone was a flip phone.
Honestly, hello, you're annoying me now.
98212. Nah, but so it's actually crazy. Like and speaking of like the visuals to Instagram, because I'm not going to lie. I'm not active on Instagram in the sense that for example, when I was sharing most posts, what I would do, I knew that I don't get engagement on my Instagram because I use Instagram. I was forced to get Instagram. I'm not even being funny with you because all my friends were like, I was in like 11th grade, and all my friends were like, Bana, how do you not have Instagram? I'm just like, don't really have a need for it right now, but okay.
You do what you want. When you
But I know
want.
that I get my engagement on Snapchat. So the same way that Mo was talking about raising awareness, I need that people pop up to my Snapchat stories. So therefore, I know that if there's something that I'm trying to get out there, that people aren't just gonna, because I'm not gonna, I'm one of them people, I tap through on Instagram. I just tap down, just like whatever, okay, be gone. But I know that Snapchat is where I go to get my engagement. But the rise of Instagram has been really, I've personally never experienced it because my Instagram feed is literally just like I'm keeping up with my friends all over the world. But Instagram, let's be real here. Instagram is, the phrase Instagram baddie does not exist for no reason, you know, because that's what, like, that comes back to a point of beauty has been defined by Instagram for the past couple of years. Hey guys, so today we're joined by
Marsha.
And she's president of Comedy Society on campus. So girl, how do you like your coffee?
I like my coffee like I like my weather. Hot.
Amen.
Yeah.
Period.
Done.
Period.
If the sun ain't shining, should I be outside? That's the question. Honestly.
Yeah. So since you're president of Comedy Society, how's that?
It's been good. It's been funny. It's been disappointing because being a leader of multiple groups of people don't always come through. But then sometimes they do. And then it's amazing. And then you're just this proud person, like seeing people do that thing. And that's great. So, yeah, it's been everything.
So what's been your favorite thing that you guys have done this year?
My favorite thing was we had this show that we went to in Edinburgh, and it was really great. It was a bunch of like
I'm from Scotland, that's why.
And it was a bunch of like LGBT comedians, and they were so funny. And we got one of them to come all the way to Holloway, and she performed with us. And I was just there like, my dream came true. Like my little summer like idea, and everyone enjoyed it. And we collabed with LGBT Sock, and it was just a vibe. And they shut down a heckler in the best way. This guy was just like, oh, Theresa May is like amazing or something. And then he was like, but also like politics, Brexit. And then the comedian just like shut him down in the best way. And then an audience member also like got in on it. And it was just, I was like, this is what it's about. Ganging up on people who are being too loud. So it was fun, and that was one of my favorite moments of comedy this year.
That's sick.
That's nice. So how did you get into comedy?
I got into it mostly through watching a lot of stand-up and listening to it. There's a podcast called Two Dope Queens that I love.
Yeah.
It's
Two Dope Queens.
It formed so much of like my like sixth form identity. Like I was there like walking on my way to class like, oh my god, this is so funny. And then I was like, wait, I could do this. I could make people laugh. And then I kind of started from there. And then I did my first gig at Monkey's Forehead, which is what this place used to be called. And
R.I.P. Monkeys.
R.I.P. Monkeys, and it was fun. And then Ned, who was president of Comedy Society then, he came up to me and he was like, you're really great. You should like be part of it. And I was like, sure, why not? So that's how I went into it.
Such a Ned thing to do, isn't
Right? He is the best.
He is. He's amazing. Shout out Ned.
Big up you, Ned.
So yeah, and then I love to laugh. And I love,
doesn't, to be fair.
yeah, and I love like helping other people come up with funny things too. So yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I did comedy.
Nice. And speaking of being funny, this is going to be a more like kind of serious topic. Obviously, in the age of like cancel culture and calling out, what do you think about political correctness in comedy? Especially considering, you know, someone like Kevin Hart, who was recently dragged on Twitter for his homophobic jokes, which I 10 out of 10, yes, drag him. But that was from like ages ago. And also when I look back on some comedy sketches that we used to watch back in the day,
some trash. Just
the thing is, obviously, I wasn't really watching. I was in the background, probably just.
But you were absorbing it, you know.
Yeah. So what do you think about political correctness in comedy? Do you think it's possible to be funny without being offensive? I think it is.
I'm not. before you get on, I'm just gonna say personally, if you cannot be funny without being offensive, you're not that funny. You're just a
gospel.
You're just a bigot.
Pretty much.
B-I-G-O-T.
Like,
A bigot with a big mouth, basically.
that's it.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, it's a lot easier to trace bigotry, and so it's easier to then cancel people for it. But I think I've been told that I'm too nice, and that when someone does something controversial or does something or says something really like kind of weird and shady, I will often kind of be kind to that person. I'm not one for canceling because like both being too nice leads to blindness, but then cancellation also leads to blindness because the full thing of what they're trying to say isn't coming across, and then they're just left in ignorance. So you have to like be like, okay, break this down. So we had a comedian who is like alumni. They've graduated, but they came back to do a show with us, and they happened to say a not so wonderful thing that was hella offensive, and I had to pull them up afterwards and be like, why did you say this joke in this way? What were you trying to convey? Then they said what they were trying to convey, and then I listed all the ways they could have done it better instead of just being like, leave, please, don't ever perform with us again, because people contain multitudes. It's never just that simple that they are just that offensive. I think there are people who generally try and destroy cultures and institutions and just awful, you know, they're just being offensive because they can and they want that power. They deserve to be cancelled. There's no time or place for them.
Katie
yeah, like who
Katie
has the
Chickens.
time? She knows better. She's a grown ass woman with actual children.
I think she's got grandkids actually.
Oh, it's such a shame, you know. They don't deserve our empathy. But I think if you lead with empathy, even in how you're telling a joke, it will make the joke better. Because if you're coming from a place of like, this is my unique perspective, I'm not trying to like tell it how it is without knowing, then it's even more funnier, you know. So empathy.
Amen to that.
Can't lie, that's the answer. Because there's nothing more irritating. Because I completely agree with you in the sense that cancel culture is like, okay, but they're just gonna go do it in a different space from so for example, let's say I identify as a black woman, right? You come into a black woman space and make a joke that's offensive to black women. And if we just say we're just gonna cancel you, you're still gonna keep making that same joke. Just in a different space.
There's no transference of power there. It just means that they'll just do it. But you have like you know, cancellation earphones in or whatever.
There's no transformation, and I think that's very important, especially coming from like a spiritual perspective. Like we're all on a journey, trying to grow, trying to learn. I will, however, and I hate to say this saying, play devil's advocate, but I will, however, say that there is a space in which it can be a privilege to not want to cancel someone for the horrible things that they've said or they've done.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if a group of people have said this person has caused so much harm to us, we don't think that you should support their art, support their work, support their shows. We think they should be fired, whatever it is. And as someone who doesn't identify with that group, you'll say, oh no, but they shouldn't be. It's fine.
But
I think that's a space of privilege.
Yes.
I think, obviously, you know, when Kevin Hart did what he did, there were a lot of, you know, cis, straight people who came and were like, chiming in, being like, yeah, no, Kevin Hart's being funny, he's cool, like, and I was just like, but was the joke aimed at you though? And I think it's in listening to the people who feel offended that we can then reach kind of like a middle ground of, okay, so how then do we approach this? How then do we go about, you know, making everyone happy and satisfied? And I don't think that the person who caused offence should be in the centre of, you know, the resolution. It should be people who offence was caused to.
And they bring the resolution to them.
One thing I've had to definitely like come to terms with is that often as black people or part of people who are oppressed, we have to be the source of solution and sorrow. And it's like,
oh child, my dissertation.
It's like, why do we have to be both? But then someone was like, well then how else do you grow? And then I was like,
it's our job.
But it's not balanced.
Carry you guys on our back.
But it's not balanced. But it's super frustrating. Another comedian, one solution she's kind of had is at her shows she'll do a special screening for people people who have like maybe anxiety first, so they'll go in and she'll run through her sets of what she's going to say, and then if people are particularly too triggered, they are able to leave the show. But it's just like a new kind of way that maybe in the future comedy will be conducted. My favorites include like Trevor Noah.
Oh,
He
yes. Love him.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Love him.
Then also like Naomi at Paragon. She's like this New York comic. She's so funny. Doesn't get enough credit. Michelle Buteau. She's so funny as well. And
How many people do
there's just loads. There are loads out there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I could list 100.
But that's
my
the great
favorite
thing about
comedians.
comedy. There's something out there for everyone.
Let me
So-
out myself. I'm funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm my favorite comedian. I am funny.
But thanks so much for
Yeah.
coming to see us today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
This was fun.
So great.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out all the events that Comedy Salt's putting on, because they just, as you can hear, they put in
We do.
a lot of hard work.
And we're gonna be at Edinburgh Fringe as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
We have
good
our
luck.
annual show coming back, so it's gonna be
that's
fun.
sick. So
Yeah.
catch them there.
Yeah.
I've been your girl Brenda,
And it's Medupe.
Marsha.
and thanks for joining us, guys.